Guys, I'm in the field here, in the middle of the Karoo on the beautiful Gecko Rock property, and I'm shooting this as I'm busy shooting some landscapes for an upcoming workshop that I'm planning on doing here. But I've played with the Nisi Filters now this morning, just to get a feel for them, see how they work, because I've been very excited about this product. At the moment I've got my leaf filters on my camera I'm busy filming with, just to darken the sky a little bit. But to be very honest with you, I've not been impressed with them this morning. Filter holder, everything is fantastic. It's really good. It's solid aluminium. My problem with this is the filter slides in very difficult, and both of them are glass filters. Now my resin leaf filters has definitely has a better effect in darkening the sky versus the two Nisi glass filters. I've got a 3-stop and a 2-stop soft grade filter on my camera at the moment I'm busy filming with, and it's the same as this. And in the photos these are a lot lighter. I still had to do a lot of bracketing to balance out my exposures with both of these filters on, which is exactly the same, or supposed to be exactly the same as what I've got on my camera at the moment. My second problem with this is I've scratched both of them on the first morning out filming or shooting. It's a big letdown for me. I've really been excited about this. It's tiny scratches, but if you're shooting into the sun you're going to get flare on those scratches, and it's just horrible. To fix that in post-production it's going to take you forever, and I firmly believe shoot it as right as you can from the word go. So I had my 3-stop filter in, and I slotted in my 2-stop soft grade, and because it's glass, the 2-stop scratched against the top of the 3-stop, and now there's like a whole band of fine scratches all over it. For that to happen on the second time shooting with these it's not great. I've shot with my leaf filters. The set I've got on my camera is my second set. The other one I've been shooting for close on 3 years, and there's only one tiny scratch on my one filter, and that was from, I think it was from a branch or something. It's not even from sliding the filters in and out, or dropping them for that matter. So if you pick up scratches on these just by sliding them in and out the filter holder, which is quite difficult, and I'll show you quickly. I put my leads in here. They slot in easier because with them being resin they're a little bit softer, but the glass filters really battle. And so let me quickly demonstrate to you. I'll use the one that's completely stuffed. They come in these neat little pouches and everything. And I've tried to wipe them off. I thought it might be just a little bit of dust or something on there, but they're pretty scratched. Okay, so let's just slot them in. And normally you would slot in the filter right against the holder at the back, to start stacking them up. Right, so there you'll see glass filter, Nisi filter, Nisi holder. You can see there I've put quite a bit of force in it. So, and another thing with the graduated filters, you need to slide them up and down to get the best effect with them. And with this, as you can see, you need to apply a lot of force on it. So, and because I'm holding in my hand, it's a little bit easier. But once it's on the camera, mounted to your tripod, if you put a lot of pressure on, you can move your camera out of position that you had it in. So it's really not an easy thing to slide up and down in your filter holder, which is not ideal, to be very honest with you. This filter is still usable, but I just won't be able to shoot with it into the sun. If the sun is coming from my left hand side, so, or camera right, as you can see here now, shooting that way is completely out of the question at the moment with this filter. But if I have to shoot that way, which is with the sun, you can get away with it. or if you open up your f-stop more. But it also depends on what you're shooting. If you want slower shutter speeds, you need smaller apertures again in light and all those things. And the smaller the aperture, the more easier you're going to see the little scratches on your filter. So it's it's one of those things. So I'm going to have a chat to the guys at Nisi and just explain to them, because that shouldn't be the case. Not with a product of this standard and at this price value. Thanks, guys. Okay, right, let's have a quick look at the effect the two different filters has on the images. As I said earlier, the Nisi filters was quite a bit lighter than what the Lees is, and I personally prefer a blue sky or a dark sky, especially if you've got lots of clouds. And it's a pity we don't have any clouds really today, just a couple of fleecies on the corner, on the horizon there. But if we had clouds, I would have loved to have seen what the difference in contrast is that's being brought out in the clouds with the two different filters. So at the moment I've got my Lee filters on, and you can see that it's pretty nice and evenly balanced, this exposure. Now, because I'm shooting with the sun, it's not technically needed that I should have filters on, but if I should take them out, as I'll do in a minute or two, you'll be able to see the effect they have on the actual scene I'm busy shooting. So right, let's go ahead and take out the Lee filters. In the Lee filter holder system, my Canon 6D settings at the moment, I'm filming this at ISO 100, f5.6, 1/30th of a second. So right, I'm not gonna stop the camera, I'm just gonna slide them out and slide the next one. So if there's a little bit of a jiggle in the camera, just please bear with that. Right, removing both Lee filters. Let's just remove the two-stop soft grade filter. Right, so there you'll see immediately a big change. Right, let's move the three-stop soft grade filter, and you can clearly see there's lots of overexposure happening in the image. Right, so I'm first going to slot in the Nisi three-stop soft grade filter. I must say they do slide in quite a bit better with the Lee filter system. Right, so you can see there, balanced, but it's not as nice as what the Lee's was. And now I'm doing a two-stop filter. This is the one that's got the scratches on. Right, so in it goes there, and you can clearly see it's not as dark as what the Lee's is, which means you'll have to shoot at narrower apertures, faster shutter speed. So if you're shooting seascapes, you need to blur water, you're going to have to shoot at a faster shutter speed versus the Lee's, which is not the ideal thing for me personally. Right, so let's just slot the Lee's back in quickly so you can have another look at that. Not changing any settings, keeping the recording as it is. There they go. Right, let's do the 0.3 or the three-stop one. It's 0.9, sorry. Three-stop soft grade filter. And clearly you can see lots and lots of better detail in that. So now let's do the two stops, the 0.6. And this is the Lee's again. Perfect balance at the same settings that I've been shooting this at the whole time. So long story short, the Lee's is better in balancing exposure versus the Nisi filters. I wish it wasn't like this, but it's one of those things. So at this moment I will definitely be sticking with my Lee filters and shooting, but the Nisi filters will be a really good backup for me, and also because now I've got two sets of filters, I can shoot with two cameras in two different directions, or shoot time lapse with the one and shoot stills with the other one. But yeah, long story short, my leaf filters is definitely better in balancing the exposure versus the leaf filters. Right, guys, I'm back at the office again. I've been shooting a little bit with the Nisi filters. You'll see on the previous clip that I explained about the soft grade filters while I was out shooting in the Karoo. With me saying I'm not very happy with them. I need to shoot more with them to see what the effect is in different situations and clouds and all that kind of stuff, but both of them are scratched at the moment, so that is a bit of a letdown for me. It's most probably just the anti-reflective coating that's scratched on the outside. It's the same as what you get on your glasses, the anti-reflective coating that they put on the glass filters. But yesterday I went out and I shot with the 10-stop long exposure filters that they've got, and I must say I am pleasantly surprised. This is it here. It's a solid glass 10-stop ND filter for really long exposures. Over here is my Lee big stopper, which has been my workhorse one. And I must say I'm not a big fan of the long exposure filters. It's something you use very selectively and in very selective cases. It's not something that you will slap on every time you go shoot landscapes, because you need moving subjects that you're going to slow down using these filters. Now, if you look at it like this, they both seem exactly the same size, and if you put them together, they are pretty much standard. But once you slot them in to your Nisi filter holder, and by the way, the Lee's fits on this because this is a 100mm system, and so it's universal. You can put the Nisi filters into the Lee holder, and you can put the Lee filters into the Nisi holder. So this is a fantastic holder system. The only problem I've got with it is that the glass filters goes in very tight. Yesterday I had the problem that this looks completely square, but in fact it isn't. There's a tiny bit of a difference between the two. If you slot it in so you've got your writing on the side, it fits in very tight. It's really tight to go in there, and you really battle once it's on. So if I can just show you, I am applying quite a bit of force. Now once you've got your camera mounted on a tripod, same as what I said earlier about the grade filters, it's a mission to just have a look, to slide it up and down to get it to the right position. But once you turn it so that you've got the Nisi either at the top or the bottom, it slides in, no worries. So there's a fraction of a millimeter difference between the width and the height on these filters, and as you can see, sliding it easy, just with 2 fingers, in and out. No problem at all. So that was very weird for me. Okay, let's get down to the filters itself. I shot with the 2 of them, and I'll show you in a minute or 2 the images next to each other. That's literally as long as it takes me to replace the filter apart from each other. Use the same filter holder. I used the Polarizer on both the photos. I'll talk a little bit about this in a second. The Nisi filter versus the Lee filter is way different. It's a night and day difference between the two. The Nisi filter is a lot warmer versus the Lee filter, and those that know Lee filters and have shot with the long exposure filters is that they will know that the Lee one is very cold. You need to do a lot of color correction. Normally it's just a simple white balance correction on this to get it sorted back to a natural looking colors. Where with this, it's a lot warmer, and I shot both of them at the same white balance settings to get an exact match between the two, to see what the difference is. There's no point in shooting this at white balance of 10,000 Kelvin and this one at 5,000. Both of them were shot on shady white balance, a nice warm white balance, and this one outperformed the Nisi Filter outperformed the Lee by a long shot, which makes it easier for color correcting in post-production, which is, face it, we all want to spend as less time in front of computers we can. So in a minute we're going to look at those images, but from the get-go, great piece of glass. I'm glad I got this, as I can use it in my leaf system as well. Works like a freaking charm. So next up, I also ordered the Nisi 10-stop screw filter, which fits in onto my 1740 77mm thread. It's a solid glass Indy 10-stop one. Now, and I'll show you the photo as well. This is completely different to this. It's got a very noticeable red magenta cast to it. So I wouldn't, and I tried to play around with a couple of sliders to see if I can get some sort of natural looking light. It was very, very difficult, and I'll show you in the images as well. I would shoot this if I'm definitely going to shoot black and white images, or if I'm planning to shoot black and white scenes, purely because the color cast you get from this is so bad that it's not a usable photo if you want to have natural looking colors in your image. So it's a great piece of glass. It works like a charm, and it's pretty much the same as the previous long exposure filters I've used in the past. Vignetting wasn't bad. I shot it at the same kind of exposures I did with the square ones. Not a lot of vignetting on this. Easy to sort that out in just a lens correction on your editing software. But as an option to shoot long exposures with, if you know you're going to do black and white, good filter to have, and reasonably well priced as well versus the other ones. I played around with the Polarizer, and as I said in the first video I did on the filters, the holder set, it fits in onto this adapter ring. It's got the little two mechanical screws at the side to rotate this thing while you've got your grad filters in, or your Indy filters. It worked. I didn't have a lot of clouds in the sky yesterday. The little bit that was there wasn't really so much that you can notice it. And with polarizers, where most people get this wrong, is you need to shoot at 90 degrees to the sun or to the light to get the best effect out of this. So I got the effect was there, it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I just basically turned it so it was as neutral as possible, and I shot with that, with the long exposure filters to get the long exposures. Definitely going to still have to do a lot of playing with this, especially if I'm going to do waterfalls or water shoots or some cloudy scenes. Like I said earlier, I'm not too happy about the filters, the soft grade filters, which is a stock standard item I use for my landscape photos. But luckily I can use my Lee filters on this holder should I need to. But right, let's get over to the images on the computer and take it from there. Right, let's have a quick look at some of the images I shot with the Nisi long exposure filters yesterday. I've got a quick selection here. I just narrowed it down to a couple of the comparative shots I did. The first 4 images you see here is the images I did with the polarizing filter. Now if we go to just do this view here, so we look at all of them. The first image at top left was shot without any filters on. That image you can see there was at 1/50th of a second, f11, ISO 100. The next one was at 1/30th of a second because I put the polarizer on, so it went quite a bit darker, and you will definitely see all the little bit of detail coming out in the clouds there. So then I started playing around with the rotating it a bit. So it forms this V in the middle that is quite a bit darker than the rest of the image, and I can only put it down to the fact that I was shooting almost into the sun. As you can see the highlight in the bottom left hand corner of the photos, so I wasn't directly 90 degrees to the sun or to the light, so I didn't get the best effect of the polarizer in my images. So let's get on to the long exposure filters. Now these ones, the next one I'm going to show you, I shot with the polarizing filter and the Nisi 10 stop long exposure filter, and to be honest, like I said earlier, I was quite blown away by the difference between that and the Lee filter. So let's do a quick comparison here. This was shot with the Nisi filter long exposure. You will see the V still at the top here. That's from the polarizer, but just ignore that for a second. There's been no adjustments done to this image at all. Everything is set to 0. Like you can see, nothing has been done. White balance is exactly the same between the two images. No lens correction, nothing. Right, so this is the Nisi 10 stop long exposure filter. You'll see the warmth in that image is pretty nice. It's really nice. So let's have a look at the Lee one. And it's cold, like Lees are. Not sure which one you prefer. If I've got to start working with an image, I would like to start working on this one. Purely because the colors is a little bit better than what the other one is. And this one will take quite a bit of correcting to do, especially in an image like this where there's nothing that is, you can see that's pure white or 18% grey or pure black that you can use your color sampler with. So let's quickly have a look and see. I know these clouds over here are should be pretty white, but there's warm sunlight on them. So let's have a look what that makes it even colder. Let's select another spot. Here we go, that's better. Now you're starting to get close to what the Nisi filters were doing. But again, look at what the Kelvin is doing. It's on 12,500 there. So let's bring it back down to where it was shot at, and also that. Day and night difference. Even the greens look a lot better. It's really good. Now, judging by the two images, the one with the Nisi filter was shot for 95 seconds, and the one with the Lee filter was shot at 90 seconds. So I doubt if that 5 seconds will make a major difference to the exposure, but there's definitely a lot more detail in the shadows on the Nisi filter. And like I said, with the soft grades, they are quite a bit lighter than what the Lees are. So by the looks of things, they might be half a stop or so lighter than what the Lee filters is, and it looks like it's about the same on the long exposures, which is fine. It's not a problem. 5 seconds or 10 seconds on a minute and a half exposure is definitely not gonna kill the cat. Alright, so let's look at the next one. This was shot Nisi long exposure filter, 81 seconds, f4, ISO 400. It was already pretty dark. The sun was basically gone. The next one was shot with the Lee system, 81 seconds, f4, ISO 400. Day and night difference between the two. And you can clearly see it there. Both of them have got a stunning effect. Even you can work with this blue cast if that's the look that you're going for. But if you want to work with the natural image to start from, this will be the one to start with, and that was shot with the Nisi filter. Again, awesome. Right, this image I did with a 10 stop screw-in filter that I screwed directly onto my lens. No polarizers, no nothing. And you can see that horrible red magenta cast that you see in the image. I've played around with sliders. I've tried to sort it out. In white balance you can get pretty close, but again, you'll have to do some color correcting to get it to where you want it to go. Not much in those sliders. You can tweak it a bit, maybe get some more detail out. But yes, quite a big difference in the colors from the original photo. So a white balance adjustment will get it to pretty much a natural look, but again, it's a lot different. If you take that versus this one, which is the Nisi straight out of the camera, no adjustments done, nothing, and it's practically spot on. Where this, you had to tweak it first. And again, it was also shot 81 seconds, same settings as before. It's quite a bit of a difference. Right, so in long and short, the Nisi system looks amazing. The long exposure filters are awesome. I'm definitely going to play more with them and bring them more into my videos and my photos that I'm going to be shooting coming up. The one thing, like I said earlier, is the scratches on my soft grade filters, which is very worrying. It's something you do not want on your soft grade filters, and like I said, I can still use them, but as you saw in the previous video, there's a huge difference between the Nisi filters and the Lee filters, and at this stage the Lees are still my go-to system for my soft grades. So in conclusion, fantastic set of filters. They work really well. If you're gonna go for the filter holder and the long exposure stuff, fantastic. Soft grades, I will still find some love for them because I'm pretty upset still with the whole scratch issue. But yes, that's it. Please leave a note in the comment section. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel. I'm hoping to bring you a lot more of these reviews I'm going to be doing, and also some other general editing stuff with landscapes and portraits and whatever I've got up my sleeve. So I'm looking forward to read all the comments, have a good discussion about this. If you've been shooting with us and have got some images to share, please do so. I think everybody would appreciate this, and yes, looking forward to seeing all you guys, and click that subscribe button or pop onto my website www.dewaldkirsten.co.za, and till the next one, cheers.